Hello, everyone, and welcome to Christy Wuchukwu's Brilliance TV show. My goodness, we are back. We are back today. And today I have an awesome, amazing woman going to do us so good. So if you are watching right now, or you're going to be watching later on, listen, I want you to get your paper and pencil or your iPad, whatever you're gonna write with, and get ready because she is about to drop some nuggets. But before I get over to our guest speaker today, I just want to remind everyone that we have our monthly meeting tomorrow, Women's Coaching Association. Actually, I should tell you who I am. My name is Christy Iwuchukwu, and I am the CEO and founder of Women's Coaching Association. This is a place where women professionals come together, coaching professionals come together to educate, train, connect, and collaborate with each other to grow their business. Listen, there's no I in team, and that's what we believe. Our rule is no mean girl. That's right, no mean girls. We believe that collaboration is the key to achieving more. So without diving more, because listen, we've been waiting for a long time for our guest today. Our guest today is Meshell Baker. So who is Meshell Baker? Meshell Baker is the Director, Global Sales Development, among every hat that she wears. And she's going to tell you more about who she is. Well, listen, I want to welcome her because we've been having issue with our technology, and I don't want to keep her waiting any longer. Meshell, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me, Christy?
Yes, indeed. I can hear you. Awesome. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate you. And yeah, let's get right into our conversation today. I know our audience has been waiting to hear from you. So tell us who Meshell is. Who is Meshell?
So, hi everyone. My name is Meshell Baker. I am the Director of Global Sales Development for the National Association of Sales Professionals. I'm also a international keynote speaker. I'm a sales success strategist, and I'm an expert confidence coach. So I wear many hats and they all line up. So what I do is I am the gift of clarity, empowering my clients to have more conversations that convert to their clients and their advocates. So that's all I do, is I'm helping people understand that sale is simply a conversation, and to do it well, right? Do it with value and do it where it translates into having more raving fan clients.
Awesome. We're going to get back into sales because it's all about sales today. It's all about sale and getting sales. But some of us don't even know what is sales in a way that it really makes sense. But we'll get to it. I want to ask you right now, I've always said that it is in the valley that we learn the greatest lesson. And oftentimes people just want to talk about being on the mountaintop, but they never talk about how they got to be there. So how did you come to be able to rock your brilliance at this time? Tell us all about that.
So my story is of a humble beginnings. I have parents who I love dearly and both very hardworking. My mom and father were brought up in Louisiana in the South. So they were brought up when there was segregation, right? In Louisiana. And my father was actually a son of a sharecropper. So he picked cotton growing up and worked the fields alongside my grandfather. And so I have an ethic of very hard work from both of my parents. And so my beginnings were they migrated to California to give me a better life. And the interesting thing about the work that I do is, and understanding, is that a change of location does not change your mentality, right? So whoever I am, wherever I go, there I am, right? So without additional work on, my thoughts and my beliefs, I still will replicate whoever I am, wherever I go. So having said that, being raised in that environment, they recreated it. So in an early age, I recognized that I was the child of two teenagers who grumbled in a Ford or a Chevy or wherever they were, right? And somebody got pregnant and then someone was forced to marry someone. So I tell people, my family used to tell the story and think it was funny, not realizing that all the dysfunction that was happening in my household, and being the oldest, I thought it was my fault. My mind said that if I had never been born, none of this would have happened, right? They thought it was a joke, and I thought it was just a blight of my existence. So believing I was a mistake, I turned around, and by the time I was 20, I became a mistake to society, and I was incarcerated. And it turned out to be the greatest gift I ever had, because I was raised by good people. I was raised in very good, with a good understanding of right and wrong. And so I decided that I was never going back, and I decided to become valuable. And it allowed me to create my personal mantra. And the principle of what I teach everyone is that you will be better off for having met me, period. I don't get to opt out of that, no matter who you are and no matter what you've done. As long as you don't put your hands on me, you will be better off. And I teach my clients to live by that standard, and it creates amazing opportunities in their life.
Wow, that's a handful. That's a handful. I am so grateful that you have said yes to being on our show today. I'm sure our clients, our audience are going to learn so much from you about sales. Talking about sales, you know, some of us don't even know what is sales. So what is sales?
So a sale, and I love this, and there's some languages where a sale, the word sales actually translates into service in many other languages. Many people in the States, however, believe that a sale is me convincing you to buy something. And what I tell people, a sale is simply a conversation where my confidence as the seller is transferred into your certainty as the buyer in what I'm saying. So the more confident I am in who I am, what I'm selling you, what I'm offering you, what I'm promising you, the more likely you'll say yes. See, people buy for emotional reasons, and they justify with logic. Features and benefits are logical. The only way I can tap into the buyer's emotion is when I'm confident. If I am insecure, if I'm in doubt, if I'm in fear, if I'm apprehensive because I got to make commission, if I just need another client, all of that translates in that conversation, and the buyer won't know why they can't say yes. They'll know that something's off. They don't know exactly what's off. See, our communication happens at an unconscious level. 93% of all communication happens unconsciously. 55% body language, 37%, 38% tonality, and 7% words. So when you add up 55 and 38, that's 93% of your communication is happening at an unconscious level, and that's your confidence as well. So when you are not confident in what you're selling, who you are, why you're there, or about anything, if you had a bad day and you let it affect you, it all comes through. So what I teach people is to be unwavering no matter what your external circumstances and situations or the people, right? They don't get to dictate who you are. You dictate who you are.
You couldn't have said it any better than I do, because you talk about confidence. You and I have something similar. Coming from teaching confidence, which was where I came from. And you and I talked about it earlier. When you don't even believe who you are, how can other people believe that you can help them? And then it's all come from really getting into yourself, doing some work and self-development, and really discovering who you are. When you become confident about who you are, other people can see it in you, and they will begin to, be attracted to you. But other than that, you can have anything you want. You can have all the content, have your T's and your T's crossed and I dotted. It really doesn't matter. Confidence is the key. It doesn't matter what you do. And when we talk about confidence, we're not talking about being arrogant. We're talking about being comfortable in your own skin, being comfortable in your own skin, regardless of what's going outside of you, that you believe that you are enough. And when you believe that you are enough, nothing else matters. Perhaps you haven't found a way to do it right, but that doesn't mean you won't be able to do it. And all you have to do is just be willing and keep working at it. And as long as you keep working at it and keep connecting and collaborating, like I've always said, that's what we talked about earlier today, you will always find a door that will be open for you. Definitely. So moving on, I want to talk about another thing, which is really the art of being uncomfortable, because that's what today is all about. It's the art of being uncomfortable. And in your own word, can you explain to us what you mean by the art of being uncomfortable?
You crack me up when you say in your own words. I'm like, who else's words, right? Right? All I have is my words, Christy. So the art of being uncomfortable, this came about through my experience. So part of my history is I lived, worked, and traveled in an RV. And that was my request, because I knew that my becoming an entrepreneur was a gift. It was a gift from God. I tell people I believe in source. Now you can call your source divine, Buddha, the goddess, whatever you want to call it, universe, spirit. I call mine God, right? And I have no caring what you call it. Just understand there's something greater than us in existence. So I understood that once my God speaks to me from inside, that there's no failure on the outside. And see, what happens, the uncomfortable happens is because people believe that they need to have certainty. They need to know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen and control things, because they have this false sense of safety, not understanding that there is no control. Nothing ever goes exactly the way you think it's going to go. There's we adjust our unconscious mind to believe that we have something that we don't have. And what happens is when you see people who are truly succeeding, they are no longer trying to control external circumstances. They have calibrated their belief inside of them so that external circumstances work in their favor. Right? And I will give you the example. People ask for something and then don't realize that they must become something to have it, right? So what happens is you say you want more, better, or different, and there's no genie or Santa Claus. Nobody's coming down the chimney to give you something better or more, right? It requires that you become more, better, or different. So then the minute you say you want more, the only time you become more when it gets difficult, now you're uncomfortable because it's difficult. Now you're uncomfortable because you've never done it. And you start to complain, you start to whine. When you're not surrounded but a community that supports you and who will remind you, yo, you asked for this, right? This is what you said you wanted. You're just getting what you wanted. It's okay, right? Say thank you, and your perspective will change and you'll see the blessing. You'll get the experience from it. But as long as you're fighting it, you don't get the experience. So uncomfortable is how you become better, right? When you learn to be inconvenienced, right? Zig Ziglar, I learned years ago. It's been, oh my God, over 2 decades since I learned I don't ever get mad when I have to wait. If somebody delays me, if I'm stuck in traffic or if there's a wait, that's the gift of time, right? How rare is it that you get someone cancels? Oh my God, I just got a half an hour, right? I'm blessed, and I will optimize and utilize that because I'm always prepared to optimize and utilize my time. But when I complain about what didn't go the way I thought it should go, I missed the blessing. I missed the gift that someone canceled a 30-minute call. I have a presentation due tomorrow. I got an extra 30 minutes to work on that presentation. Right? Someone canceled the 30-minute call. I was exhausted. I can go take a 20-minute power nap. You miss what you are being given the gift of because you're complaining about what you didn't get, and what you didn't get is the past, and what can you not change? The past. So I say this to say, when you begin to embrace that the only time anything good ever happens in your life is when you go outside the comfort zone, because that's when you get the chance to become better at who you are, to really see the genius that exists inside of you. You will start to welcome it. You will start to look for it, right? People who are really successful, they get bored when everything goes right because they don't get a chance to use your genius.
Awesome, awesome. You know, while you were talking, I was thinking about being uncomfortable, and so many things come to my mind, and I can never forget the quote by, I think, the 20th president of the United States, and you know, he was talking about the fact that poverty is uncomfortable, but the best thing that can happen to a young man is to be tossed overboard, and compelled to swim.
Yeah.
Or sink.
Yep.
So it basically tells me that you and I were talking about it earlier when I was having problem with technology, and you said something good will come out of this. And
Absolutely.
Sure enough, something came out of it. And oftentimes we really don't have the patience, because when the going gets tough, the tendency is to drop. And I am no exception, right? But it is in that when the going gets tough that you really learn the greatest lesson. You really begin to realize how tough you are, because oftentimes I don't even think that we have scraped the surface of how strong, the strength that we have. The only reason is because we don't believe that we are. So as we're talking about being uncomfortable, tell me what being uncomfortable has to do with sales.
Because sales is counterintuitive, right, to our normal nature. So this is what people forget. We are naturally inclined to want safety. If you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of our first basic needs is safety, right? We are created to take the path of least resistance. Biologically, physiologically, we want to take the path of least resistance, right? From our reptilian brain, we will want to go in the cave and sit by the fire and chill out. We don't want to go out and hunt, right? That's fight or flight. So that's why we have a tendency to go that way, right? So with sales is putting people in front of strangers all day long, right? Or on the phone with strangers all day long, having conversations, not knowing what that person's going to say. Remember, most people want certainty, right? You hear people talk about what they want and how, right? And what I ought to, need to, have to, should. That's the conversation of most of society. So they're attempting to control their circumstances. Sales is not a place where you really get to control the external circumstances. The most successful salespeople control internally themselves, and then they adapt and flex to the external, right? So being uncomfortable allows you to be able to flex and adapt. If I'm not able to be uncomfortable, then when you say something I'm not prepared for, when something doesn't go the way, then I start freaking out and panicking, right? And the one thing I explain to people, this is conditioning of your mind. This does not happen overnight. This takes time. There's no shortcut to conditioning your ability to adapt and flex in the uncomfortable, right? There's no weekend program. There's no week-long sales training that's going to help you condition. It takes time, right? One of the best analogies I love for sales success and business success is athleticism. Athletes get it. They understand in order to be an NBA level player, how many years does it take? I don't get to do that overnight. I must master my craft. I get up earlier than everybody else. I stay up later than everybody else. If they take 100 free throws, I do 200 free throws. If they run 10 laps, I run 20 laps, right? Whatever they're studying, whatever extra coaching they can get, that person who has that desire from the time they start that skill has decided, I'm going to be an NBA player. Now everybody wants to have all this business and all this money. They don't read sales books. They're not listening to sales podcasts. They're not. So my question to you is, when you truly want something, you will ensconce, you will submerge your mind in it. Your mind cannot give you what you have not given it. You will not be a successful sales rep if you have not submerged yourself in sales. Now, the second thing I will tell you about being uncomfortable is that successful and wealthy people do something that the masses don't do. They don't attempt to teach themselves something they don't know. When people want to be better and they're successful, you don't see them saying, oh, I got to figure this out, or excuse me, I bought a book. No, what do they tell you? I went and hired a coach. Yep. Because they don't waste time trying to teach you. Think about it. How long is it going to take me to teach myself something I don't know? How do I even know if I'm teaching myself the right thing? Right? It doesn't make sense. It's counterintuitive and it's a waste of time. The most successful people go say, teach me the habit, because once I have the habit, I'll create the results. And that's what you see with athletes. Athletes are really good at this. They teach me how to make the swing. Teach me how to hit the puck. Teach me how to throw the ball. Teach me how to run the laps. Teach me how to clear the hurdles, right? They get coached, and then they go out and they get the medals and the trophies and everything else and the endorsement deals. So what I'm telling you, when you're really ready to start selling, you will go acquire what you need so you can do it well.
And you said it so well. You said it so well. You said it so well. Oftentimes, what really stops people from getting to where they should be is they know they need something. You and I were talking about it earlier. They know they need something. They can't afford it. And money, and you've been listening. You told me you've been listening to Abraham Hicks. I just got into listening to Abraham Hicks last month, being June. So I was still a baby listening to Abraham Hicks. But it makes all the sense. Really, is it the fact that we know we want something, but yet, you know, you don't believe you can get it. And so you don't have that unwavering faith. On one hand, you said you want it. On the other hand, you're saying, I don't think I'm going to get it. So what does the universe give you? The universe reaches in and give you, perhaps, you don't get it, right? And it's so nice that you and I are having this conversation today, because especially if you are starting out in business, it can be a torture. And oftentimes you really don't have an idea of what you're going to do. You just know in your mind you have an idea of something, but you're not clear of what to do. So what can you tell somebody who is perhaps starting out, or maybe they've already started, but they're failing you, or maybe they are seasoned, but yet they are struggling in making the money?
So, and thank you. That's a great question. And it was, I've been there. So what I tell people all the time is, let's go back and understand mastery. I just want you to think in terms of the phraseology is that mastery takes 10,000 hours or 10,000 repetitions, right? And what I also tell people is that the reason people give up is because they think they've tried a lot, right? Oh, I'm not successful and I can't do it, right? And understand the source that we talked about earlier, right? God, divine, Buddha, source, universe, goddess, spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? Is infinite, unending, and unlimited. So that means there's infinite number of ways for you to achieve whatever you're attempting to achieve. And more than likely, it's not going to be the way you think it's going to be, right? So when you've decided to set out and create a business, have you went and researched other people that have gone before you and read their story? Because when you start reading the story of businesses who've been successful, Most of them will tell you how many times they failed. Most of them will tell you how many times they went bankrupt. Most of them will tell you how many times they had to start again. Most of them will tell you how many times and how long they had to eat top ramen noodles, sleep on their mama's couch, sleep on cots, sleep out of their cars, right? So my question to you is, what does it mean? Are you willing to do whatever it takes no matter what? Because starting a business is not actually about the business. It's actually about you becoming who you're called to be. So if you are starting a business for the wrong reasons, you will not have the inner inspiration being in spirit, the spirit in you, the drive. You will not have what it takes to go on, and you will find the alibis, justifications, and excuses to get out of it. So again, have you done the front end work, right? What we tell people on the work that I do is that when you take the time to build a strong foundation, you have 80% less work than anyone else out there struggling. The people who I got to figure it out, and I got all that. When you do the work on the front end, you can go so much faster and farther, and you'll build momentum. This is why some people stay stuck in a solopreneurship forever, where other people, like, oh my God, it seemed like just yesterday they were struggling, and now they had, they're a 7-figure business because they've done the work up front. They fuel their belief before they start out. And if they find that the belief flame is starting to dwindle, they press pause and they stoke the flame.
You as you were talking, you're talking about being able to really focus on what is it that you're doing. I can't say it exactly the way you said it, but in other words, really focusing on your craft, mastering your craft. And like you said, there may be days where you don't have enough to eat because there's not enough money. When I think about Les Brown, and he talked about how he used to sleep in the office, how he used to sleep in the office, and look at that, and look at where he is now. Not so many people will be able to do what he did, but he knows exactly what he was shooting for. And he didn't mind whether people were laughing at him. As he said, some people were laughing at him. He didn't have a place to, because he couldn't afford a place to stay. He just wanted to continue honing his, but now he's not talking about it anymore. And everybody, the whole world knows about Les Brown. But there was a journey that got him here. And oftentimes we don't have the patience, the tenacity to put in the work that it takes to do it. And sometimes it could just be people are giving you such a hard time, laughing at you, and maybe you can't stand it and you just shrink, rather than just knowing that it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. If you believe on what you're doing, if you believe in yourself, if you expect to succeed and believing that I may not do it today, but tomorrow I may be able to do it. But continue doing it. I think the key is really continue putting your right foot front and allow the left foot to follow. And as long as you continue, surely something will happen. So as we're talking about that, I'm thinking about, you've been helping your clients with sales, with mindset, with vision board, with a whole lot of things. So how do you help your clients to overcome the belief of being uncomfortable?
It's a great question, as always. So it's a unique individual journey. So the one thing that I explain to people, there's nothing that I talk to that can transpire quick, right? So everything happens in your mind. So when people truly understand the way their mind works, right, the way that conversation that's internal to you works, you have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, right? But you only speak anywhere from like maybe 15,000 words a day, 15, maybe 20,000. So your conscious conversation is so much less than what's happening on you internally, right? So if there is no enemy within, there will not be an enemy outside.
I love
right? And what happens is people don't spend the time to take care of the enemy within, right? When you take care of that, that's when you can, there's no one can hold you back or down, right? So all the second guessing, the fear, the doubt, you care less what anybody says. Now that's a process, because you go out, you don't know that you have sometimes second guessing or fear until you go somewhere and you say something, and then someone says something back to you, all of a sudden you get sensitive and you're like, wow, then you deal with that. Then you go somewhere else, something else happens, you go, oh my God, then you deal with that. It's a process of building the muscle. Your mind is a muscle that must be strengthened. And I tell people, you don't go to the gym and lift 100 pounds. If you can only lift 5 pounds and you go to the gym, you're not going to lift 100 pounds next week, and you're probably not going to lift it next month. It takes time. So it takes time for your mind to be able to handle more and more. So you don't go from, from being broke to being a billionaire. If you look at their stories, if you really start to understand the process of what needs to happen inside of you, right? Instead of trying to get the stuff outside of you, that's just the gravy, right? When you decide who you're going to become, right? What most people are teaching you is what to do. What to do means that I'm chasing what I'll have, right? The world teaches if you do this, you'll have this. And at the core of every human being is all you want to do is be happy. That is what every human being desires on this planet. There's no way around it. We're designed to be happy. We're designed to want more. And that's why we go create, right? And the creating is what drives us to the happiness. Now, what most often you're learned and taught is if you do this, you'll have this, right? So when someone says what you ought to need to have to, they're telling you what to do. So then you go out and do it. And then you get all the stuff, or you're not getting the stuff, and you just dictate based on your external circumstances whether you're happy or not. So you're allowing things outside of yourself to control you. What I teach and what the people that I surround myself teach, we teach you how to be, right? Who to be, right? Because when you decide who you're going to be and you focus on being that be, then everything you do and have is just extra, because you're already happy with who you are. And then when you're happy with who you are, you attract more. Opportunity comes your way. You're not working as hard because you're sourcing, because you're believing, right? What is the first 2 words of believe? Be.
Absolutely. Be.
So this is why I teach what I teach in the way I teach it, right? And again, I tell people, I do not make the promise, right? The 6 weeks to 6 months, all that stuff, I will not tell you that. I will not. If it happens, it does. And what I know to be true is that the work that I do with people, you only have to do it once. I mean, when you keep buying programs that tell you to get a result, and the example I love to show you is, right, if I help you lose 100 pounds, your mind then goes what? That's why most people who lose massive weight, if they don't have an identity, if they haven't identified who they're going to be, if they haven't created some habits, then once they stop, they go back to because who they are still is in them. They were chasing a result. So once they get to the result, you're at a finish line in your unconscious mind. The old habits never disappear. They just pick them right back up. That's why so many people that's why the weight loss industry is a trillion-dollar business, because they keep people on a cycle of chasing weight. Now, if I show you how to eat healthy, if I show you how to have a workout habit, so you have a healthy eating habit and you have a workout habit, I can't sell you anything, because once it's a habit, it's just who you are. You don't need me after a certain point. Once the habit is a lock, you'll make the results. You'll get the body. You'll stay healthy. You'll hydrate. You'll exercise. You'll up your exercise game. Once you have the habit of being healthy in your thoughts and in your behaviors, no one else needs to have you chase 100 pounds, because it's just who you are.
Wow, you said a lot, and it boils down to one thing: looking at the man on the mirror. That's all it is. Because oftentimes, like you've said it so well, that we're constantly looking on the outside for what we've already have inside. But it boils down to that belief, the faith, the unwavering faith with the expectation that you already got it. You know what Abraham says, that 99%, Abraham Hicks said that 99% of what we are seeking, it's already there, waiting for us to attract it, waiting for us to have the tools and the strategies that we need to attract it, waiting for us to really believe that we already have it. We're just waiting, because what you're seeking is always seeking you. So thank you so much for all that nuggets. Now, are we coming to the end of our
Yes.
show?
Yes.
I want to find out, you are the queen of sales, all right?
Yeah.
How can you, or can you give us something, the listeners, somebody listening now, maybe they're new, maybe they're thinking about starting a business. They don't know where to start. They don't know the first thing, the second thing, or the third thing to do. They just have an idea. Or maybe they've already started a business, but they're still in the hustle. What can you give them now, tips on what to do to start selling now?
So one that starts selling now is it not going to tell you that, because the sale does not happen in the moment in your front of the client. The sale happens way before that. Remember, a sale is a transfer of confidence. Confidence does not happen in the moment. If you're not confident before you get in front of the client, it's not going to magically happen in front of the client. You cannot trick your unconscious mind. Remember, your communication is at an unconscious level of 93%. And whatever you believe about yourself is going to transfer. So what I tell people, the first thing that you can do is you can start thinking in terms of value. As you work on your unconscious conditioning, as you work on building your confidence, start thinking in terms of what is the value, what is, how are they going to walk away better off? See, what most people, when they hear the term sale, they think that I got to get somebody to buy something. That's not the way it works, right? Top performing salespeople, we don't worry about, we understand that I don't get every sale, so I'm not looking to sell anyone. What I'm looking to do is be valuable, right? So I'm always going to either get a client or an advocate. 100% of my conversations are going to turn into someone is going to have met me and they're going to be like, oh my God, she's amazing. Now, that means that you will either be a client today, tomorrow, or you'll refer me a client, or should someone speak to you about me, you're going to have something really amazing to say because you got a chance to interact with me. So what I teach people is stop focusing on selling and start focusing on being valuable. Right? That is how you create referrals, repeat business, and recommendation. You want to create a pipeline that works on your behalf. You can either go, you could teach a man to, you can give a man a fish and he eats for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. When you're chasing sales, you're eating one fish at a time. What I'm telling you is learn to be valuable, right? And you will have, that's how you get a harvest. Right? You're, instead of hunting one client at a time, think in terms of how I'm going to be in business for how many years, right? So when I'm like trying to get clients, I'm thinking that I just need money now. I'm telling you to think in terms of, I want relationships for the duration. I've met people who've had clients that they've had for 20 and 30 years, right? I know I was a pharmaceutical rep, and I can go back to Long Island, New York, and walk into one of those doctor's offices and they'd lose their mind, right? I get comments on Facebook and people who inbox me all the time, right? Because it's value. So what is the value that your client is going to get from you? Sit down and write it out. Get it out of your head. Don't think you know anything. This is where people, remember, your unconscious mind does most of the work. It does 90% of the work. And when you treat it well, it will treat you even better. So write out what you're going to say to that person. So I would say sit down and think about what the value is you're going to offer that client. Now, also think about the story you're going to tell about why it's going to benefit that client. right? So my product does this and it's amazing because of this. Now, one of my recent clients, this is what they were able to do when they implemented this product in this certain situation. So you're not telling them what to do, you're inspiring them on how they can benefit from what they're getting. Now, the only way you're going to do this is if you believe in your product. So what generally happens is when I coach people is if they're in a product they don't believe, they always end up with a new job. I've had quite a few people go get new jobs. And that's okay, because they wanted to sell something they actually believed in, because then they were doing it authentically and with ease, right? Remember, you're transferring your confidence.
Correct.
Right. And the second thing, and the final, and the thing that you can do once you've written this out, then and only then write out a prospect list. Sit down quietly, right? Black out some time and just think about all of the amazing experiences that you just wrote out that your clients are going to have. And then just go, who, and just ask, and you'll be amazed what'll pop into your head. But you want to do the work first. You want to do the value part first, and then sit down and say, who would benefit from this? Who can I call? Who is the person that would benefit from this opportunity to have their life transformed with this product and services that I have? And then you start calling them.
Just so that our listeners will know, do you work with new clients, existing clients, or people that are just already doing business, people that are emerging, coming to do business, don't even know what the hell they're trying to do? Or who do you work with?
I work with anyone who's really ready to invest in themselves. It depends. There's some people who don't want to waste time. I've had people who started businesses and had done reading and had done some stuff while they were working, and they understood that they wanted to get crystal clear from day one, right? They didn't want to waste time tripping over themselves, even though you're still going to make some mistakes and challenges, but they wanted to go further faster. And I've been with people who are in the middle of their business and they're changing hats because they're not doing what initially they thought they wanted to do. I had one lady who was a health coach who we went through coaching, and now she is a domestic violence and sex trafficking coach and advocate, right? Working with the FBI as a consultant, right? And speaking all over. Right. So again, she changed hats in the midst because we got that voice inside of her to come out. Then I tell people, my gift to you is once you work with me, the voice inside of you will be the loudest voice in your life for the rest of your life. That's the promise I make, and I ain't broken yet.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Unbelievable. So as we come to the close, you've given us so much, but I'm sure there's so much more we haven't expressed yet.
Remember, I'm tapped into the source. I'm unlimited, baby.
So how can our audience get in touch with you to partake in so many other things that you have?
So I am going to share this screen so they have it here. One of the best ways to start with me is to download. I do what's called the Bank Vault Vision Board. It's a process. It was the first thing I created when I started my business. And I still get, people still love it. So it's a great way to start. And what it'll do is you download it, you'll be able to get a link. You'll receive an email confirming, and you'll also get a link to do what I call a clarity call. So I give a complimentary 1-hour clarity coaching call. So you'll have a link to that as well as this. And it's a great way for us to get started, right? And everything begins with vision. So I had a career in sales, and then I came out and I did years, and I became renowned and sought after for my vision board process. And then I ended up back in sales. But what I realized is that everything starts with vision. When your vision is not clear, you will allow everything external to you to distract you, dissuade you, deny you, deter you, delay you, right? Discourage you, distract you, right? You will allow it to take hold, right? It's not until that vision, the internal, is clear. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't change. It can change, and it still must be clear and powerful. And that's the work that I do. That's my gift to the world, is clarity.
Awesome, awesome. So if you are watching right now or you're watching later on, listen, this is a good information to also share, because you never know who this will impact. You never know who's seeking this type of information. And like Meshell said, she's really the queen of sales. And it's not just the content, is she works on your confidence. She helps you with confidence. She helps you with mindset. She helps you with getting clear of what is it that you want to do. So please, audience, be sure to take her on that offer. So let's get back to it. And everybody, before we end today, I just want to appreciate each and every one of you. I want to appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget that this is the TV show that we do every Monday, Christy Iwuchukwu's Brilliance TV show. It's every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. What do we do at this show? This is where we bring experts from different businesses to share tools and strategies on how to up-level your business as well as personal life. So please be sure to join us next week, Monday. We have Tanya Halfman, and she is the CEO and founder of Public Speakers Association. So join us next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget that we have, for Women's Coaching Association, we do have our summit next month. And if you want to find out more about what we do, go to womenscoachingassociation.com, women's with an S, womenscoachingassociation.com. And Meshell, I just want to take the time and thank you so much. I really appreciate you and your patience tonight, trying to hash all the technical difficulties that we had tonight. What a day, what a day.
And I just want to say thank you. I love having conversations with women like yourself, because again, there's nobody who does this alone. Like I was saying, when you really start researching greatness, everybody great had a partner, a friend, some colleagues, some support. They found their tribe of people who helped elevate them, who believed in them, who supported them, right? And Christy, you created that tribe, and I applaud that. So ladies, if you're listening, get the opportunity. This woman is amazing, and she is creating something amazing for you to grow. We don't grow by ourselves, right? Think about it. When you see a bumper crop, when you see a big harvest, it's a lot of stuff growing together, right? It's easy to grow with people. So thank you for the work that you do, and I really appreciate this time tonight.
And thank you so much. I cannot wait for a continued connection and collaboration and see what we're going to do in the future. And thanks you for being our newest member in Women's Coaching Association. I appreciate you, and I'm going to see you again for our training tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you're not yet a member for Women's Coaching Association, you can join us free, one-time pass. You can get a one-time pass and join our training and test drive. And until next time, everybody, take care of each other, and remember that your fingerprint is by design and not by choice. The world is waiting for you to rock your brilliance. Thanks and bye for now. Okay, Meshell.
All right.